Well, this area, the central New York area, particularly Utica, Rome, have really had some serious challenges economically over the last decade. It has been very difficult as a result of federal decisions, state decisions, private sector decisions that have been made, along with the national recession. So when you put all that in the mix, it's been a struggle for this area. Now, many officials and community leaders are all working together collectively to try to diversify the economy, to reposition the community, but this is a time where we do need attention and resources to assist in that effort.
What's the impact of the prison closure at the Oneida prison going to be on the area?
Unfortunately, it's another hit, and it is disappointing because we believe that these facilities stack up well, and we're going to try to make an appeal based upon the information and the argument on merit. But ultimately, the idea is to try to save the jobs in this area because there are a number of other facilities in the area. So it will have a negative impact right now, not only from an economic standpoint, but from a social standpoint. You're going to be having families separated and individuals leaving the community while the families are left behind. So there are a lot of issues that come into play when you have to deal with a closure.
What's that appeal process involve? Does it involve talking to the governor's office? Does it involve talking to the governor himself and convincing him this is a bad idea?
Well, the decision is the governor's to make, and it always has been the governor's to make. And so the appeal has to be made to the individual that makes the decision. Now, there's no formal process. We're just going to write and request that they reconsider and review all the information on merit. Ultimately, we're hopeful that that will resonate, but if it does not, we want to continue to do what we can to save the jobs in this area.
Well, the initial proposal that the governor put out, gave the ultimate authority to the legislature in the prison closure, and then when the budget was approved, it came down to the governor having final authority. Was that a mistake, giving him the final power to give that?
No, it never was presented that the legislature would have the authority. He talked about establishing a committee where he would include a couple legislators. Quite honestly, that could be used as cover for a decision that the executive branch ultimately would have most of the responsibility and resources to make. So if you were talking about a separate commission, like a Berger-like or Brack-like commission, that would have been a different story. That was never the proposal. The proposal was just a task force, and we felt that this is a decision that has always rested with the executive, and the executive has that authority, so there's no reason why you should have a group there advising which has no binding authority or governance over the ultimate decision except to be used as a cover, quite honestly.
Okay, one thing that the governor's office has talked about is these economic development councils. They've been talking about them since the beginning of the year. We have not seen them roll out yet. Do you expect these councils to get up and running now that the prison closures have been announced?
Well, the governor has indicated that he will have the councils up and running over the summer. I think there were a number of items on the legislative agenda that he was dealing with. So we've spoke to the lieutenant governor, and I envision that they will be rolling out. I think there's no bearing to the decisions on corrections or some of the other things. I think it was just a matter of timing and preparing it. So I know that they remain committed to that concept, and I think they will be unveiling that over the next several weeks.
How are those going to look? How are those councils, and how will they interact with the local economy and local officials here in this area?
Well, all of that has been stipulated in what he has said and what he has demonstrated through various speeches that he's given. They will basically be a combination of public and private sector, regionally developed, and they will compete for funding that exists for projects. Good projects will rise to the top. So all of that is good in the sense that you're going to have area control and the opportunity to work regionally together and to compete. Competition is good. But I also think one of the elements that's missing, and I've expressed this to the Lieutenant Governor and others in the administration, is that certain regions need more than that. Like in this case, in this area, the Utica-Rome area, they need additional resources, and special needs have to be addressed because of what they have weathered over the last decade, whether it's a base closure or a prison closure or private sector decisions to leave the community and lose hundreds of jobs. So ultimately, the councils are good, and we look forward to working with the administration, but I also hope that they're going to look at really identifying specific areas such as the Utica-Rome area have unique needs and to allocate additional resources to meet those needs.
Let's talk about some of the economic development options this area does have. SUNY IT is trying to get a nanotechnology center off the ground, which would work possibly in tandem with what's going on at SUNY Albany right now. Some of the other colleges have other job creation ideas as well. Just how will that fit in with the economic development councils, and if you could talk a little bit about also, what those colleges are working on.
Well, higher education institutions play a very important role in economic development, and I'm encouraged by the fact that the governor is continuing to include them and have them involved. In our case, SUNY Institute of Technology, there's an opportunity to develop nanotechnology in that area. And we have an aggressive effort ongoing with Mohawk Valley Edge, which is our economic development lead agency, and they will be working with the university and with the economic development councils and the Empire State Development Corporation to try to put together proposals to attract and recruit the type of businesses that will be able to grow the economy.
Mm-hmm. And we're actually just right around the corner from the finish line of a big economic driver for Utica, which is the annual Boilermaker race. What sort of an impact does this race have every year on bringing sales tax revenue to the area, bringing a shot in the arm to the area?
Well, as we indicated, there are various elements to economic development, and tourism is one component of that. And so this is special events bring people to the area. This is a huge successful event in central New York and across the state, in fact nationally. You'll have world-class runners here along with regular residents who are running the race from this community and across the state. So it does a lot to call attention to the area. It also allows us to bring people, to familiarize them with the community. So it's an opportunity to bring in money, but also to have people become familiar with an area that maybe they haven't been to before. And I know that there's so many things that we have to offer here that they'll return.
Very good. Well, Senator Joe Griffo, thanks for joining us tonight.
It's a pleasure to be with you, Nick.